I, like everyone else, have been pretty tired of the MCU for a minute. There's been a real lack of direction since Endgame. Combine that with an overexpansion into television has meant there's just too much content for audiences to keep up with, and quite frankly, too much content for Marvel to be able to handle, because the quality has really dipped. Now Thunderbolts is here, and instead of being talked about as just another Marvel movie, it's being framed as the great return to form. This has had some of the best reviews of any film in the MCU at a time where Marvel sorely needs it. And there's a lot of reasons to praise this film. It fixes one of the biggest issues I tend to have with every Marvel film, but on the other hand, I do think some of those positive reviews do the film a little bit of a disservice. If you know nothing about Thunderbolts, they're kind of like Marvel's Suicide Squad. They're not hardcore villains, but they're essentially a group of expendable heroes who are forced to work together. Now, the weirdly refreshing thing about this movie is that it just feels like a standalone film. All of these characters have featured in some Marvel property before now, but you could watch this without having seen a single Marvel film and enjoy it and know what's going on. And it's just a joy to watch a Marvel movie just as a movie and have it not feel like homework for the next big thing. Now, the plot doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The villain's plan is kind of terrible, but the movie does what it needs to do to put these characters in interesting situations and interacting with each other. Part of the marketing for this movie tried to sell it as being like an A24 film. That was based on Florence Pugh describing it that way, and then they released a trailer highlighting all the people who worked on Thunderbolts that also worked on high-profile A24 films. But let me be clear, this is absolutely nothing like an A24 movie. This has the exact same tone as every other MCU movie, and you can understand why. They spent $180 million on this thing. They're trying to appeal to the audience they already have, but because of the fact there was so much positive buzz around this movie, and the fact that Marvel seemed at least interested in trying to sell this as a different kind of movie, I thought there had to be something special hidden up this movie's sleeve. I was getting especially worried as I was about to get into the third act, because that's usually the point with Marvel films, even the ones I enjoy, where I really start to tune out, because every superhero movie has to end with a great big fight sequence between the superhero and the supervillain, and that's fine. It can be great fun to see whole cities getting destroyed, but we've seen that happen like 30 plus times now. These films really need to do something different now to switch it up, but Thunderbolts is the one that actually does. I'm not going to give anything away, but it was really nice to have a surprise in a Marvel movie that wasn't just a cameo. They're really smartly able to deliver what you expect for the final fight sequence in a superhero movie, but they're able to really focus on it as an emotional test for the characters rather than just a physical one. I was just so refreshed to see them do something a little bit different at the end of one of these movies, but I admit that is kind of damning it with faint praise. Now, as much as I enjoy the third act of this movie, when we talk about all the positive buzz around Thunderbolts, we need to understand it within the context of where Marvel is right now. Because Marvel has been in a bit of a low ebb, everyone thought that the best days of the MCU were behind us, and so everyone, including myself, went into this movie with lowered expectations. And that just means it's way easier for your expectations to be exceeded. Because right now, the entire discussion around this film is being framed as, we're so back, this is the return of Marvel. But I really wonder how this movie is going to be thought of in 10 plus years when people are watching it without the concern about where we are in the MCU. Yes, it has a pretty creative and inventive third act, but the first 2/3 are kind of just fine. But because the last few Marvel films have been kind of bad, suddenly a film just being decent suddenly seems way more impressive. Maybe that's just me. It definitely has made me feel much more positive about future Marvel projects going forward. I hope this is a sign of an upward trajectory, and hopefully a sign that Marvel are interested in doing something a bit different with their third acts, because they're going to keep needing to. If you've seen Thunderbolts, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you want to make sure that you don't miss anything coming up on the channel, make sure to subscribe.